Hi FIN230 students, I just wanted to talk to you today about the final exam. Basically you've got the sample exam and your subject outline, which gives you a great overview of the types and style of questions that will be in the final exam for this subject. But I just sort of wanted to talk you through a written document that I've made and we'll put up in the resources folder under subject review. But basically this is just my overview of the exam, if you like. What's the structure of it? It's a 50% of your overall marks in this subject, and to meet the terms that are outlined in the subject outline, you must pass the exam to be able to pass the subject. You don't need to pass your assignments, but you do need to pass the exam to be able to be eligible to receive a passing grade. Now, I set exams to find out what people have learnt in my subject. I don't set exams to trip people up, to test them on obscure little things within the topic. So think broad overviews. Think what are the learning objectives for each topic, and that will be what I'm asking you questions about. So I really like to find out what people have learnt by studying the subject rather than setting trap exams to find out what they didn't learn. So I think you should feel comfortable in the exam, okay? I set an exam with 6 questions, but you only need to answer 4 of those questions. So you've got to, less than perfect topics or areas that you can drop out. My questions do tend to have parts to them, so I might have part A and part B. If you've picked to answer question 1, you've got to answer part A and part B, obviously. And I explain all that here. So 4 questions, I mark out of 10 just because that's easy for me to conceptualise. So I'll end up with a mark out of 40 on your exam paper, which I then convert to a mark out of 50 to make it the 50%. What else can I say? How to organise your time in an exam. Now, I'm someone who has done many exams in my life, and this is a skill in itself. It's a 2-hour exam and you need to answer 4 questions. So what I'm looking for is a 30-minute response on each question. So 2 lines ain't going to cut the mustard, okay? And I like people to spend a bit of time planning. 5 minutes out of that 30 minutes is not hard to put some dot points down just to make sure you've got everything in your head that you want to get out on the piece of paper. So I'm a big believer in not just launching yourself straight into the first thing that you can do and writing everything down that you know about it. Really try and answer the question and plan your answer well. And tell me everything you know. Tell me everything you know about it, okay? So in that reading time, plan. Pick the questions you want to answer, so eliminate the 2 that you don't want, basically. And then, spend that time to put a few dot points down. All of the topics are examinable, okay? So all of the topics are up for grabs in the exam, and you'll see that through the sample exam, that I tend to just spread the whole lot of the material across the exam. The best way to study for my subjects is to really focus on the subject review questions that are under each topic. Really frame, I would have hoped ideally that you would have all framed some responses around those notes as you went through the topics anyway. And so if you've done that, that's fantastic. Revise those. If you haven't, then that's the best way to study for this exam. I've also put up some more additional subject review question and answers, which are just for more practice, okay? And they don't take you anywhere different. They're just more of the same, I guess. And I've tended in those to focus a bit more on the numeric ones because that's generally what people like to practice a little bit more. But you'll see from the example exam, it's not overly numeric, okay? This is not a FIN211, for example. I do need you to explain concepts to me, okay? So there will be a spattering of, bond pricing, bill pricing questions, but there is also the explain questions as well. Now, the happy news, for most people anyway, is that yes, I now put a formula sheet on this subject. which goes against everything I believe in, but anyway, I've bowed to pressure and there is a formula sheet now attached to the exam. Okay, so you have the bond pricing formula from the text. I cannot put my method as a formula. You know the method I've shown you in the whiteboard examples in the modules? That is a method. You either know that or you don't. If you're still relying on a formula, here it is, great ugly thing that it is. We'll all get the same answer. If you learnt the method, you will be fine in the exam doing it that way, okay? There's the bill price, that's from the text, that's my version. Again, it doesn't matter which one you put in, we will all get the same exam, and there's the holding period yield. Okay, so that's it. I've only got 3, okay? So I hope that they help you. For the reason that I now have a formula sheet, on the quantitative questions or the bill or bond pricing questions, I tend to not give part marks. I mean, for goodness sake, if you can't even bang the numbers into the given formula, we've got a problem. So, you know, use that wisely, I guess, that information. It's right or it's wrong for me in the exam, given that you've got the formula sitting right there in front of you now. Anyway, I hope this all helps. Please get in contact with me if there's any questions or queries or any issues that I haven't clarified for you that you might need to know about. And I will talk to you closer to the exam.